So previously we did cover the Poliquin step. I believe it was the Poliquin step, but it came to light that some people probably don't have the capacity to carry out said exercise because they still are recovering, and or just it is, for lack of a better term, it is just painful. So one regression to that is what we're going to be covering today, a step down, a basic step down. If you can't or you haven't got the accessibility to certain devices here, then I think a better regression for the Poliquin step is just a Peterson step assisted, just holding one of these or just holding said wall and or just bearing weight to where you feel comfortable, and or you can meet that threshold to where you don't regress your progression. The basic step down. So if you are in the stages of early rehab and you're not able to carry out a Poliquin step, then this is a perfect exercise for you, because it is, I'd say it does focus on a triple extension far greater than the Poliquin, which is more knee driven. So as always, we have our TheraBall. We're going to call it a TheraBall or exercise, or we like to, whenever I cover these triple extension movements that are focused on stepping or ascending, I like to release the fascia of the foot. So don't forget to do that. So you can really just release the fascia of the foot. It's completely up to your discretion. I do apologize for the horrible phalanges. Is it phalanges? For the horrible extremities, but we are athletes around here and it is a trade-off. So this is completely to your discretion, guys. If it only takes you about 30 seconds to release the fascia of the foot, then by all means. But if you need to take longer, then go for it. So we're always going to tap into these warm-ups or prerequisites before we get into the main course of what we're going to do. So we have got just a simple slant board. If you guys have a slant board, like I said, that's fantastic. If you don't, you can get, if you don't, you guys can be creative in your own ways. You don't even need to get this, guys. You can get like a platform and just stretch out the ankle. So this is great for those of you guys experiencing low ankle flexibility. So this is great for ankle flexibility. This also targets the soleus, and I think personally under a very overlooked, not underlooked, a very overlooked part of training the Achilles. So we don't want no problems there. So with this step down, it does allow you guys to focus more on the triple extension as opposed to the Poliquin step, which is more knee focused and more knee driven. So this is great for you guys who have, I'd say, greater ankle flexibility, whereas the Poliquin step, although it is great for improving knee health and knee overall health, it's catered to those people with less ankle mobility. So you just want to get a good few reps here. The key cues which I like to implement is to avoid stepping down with the toe and lead with the heel. When you do lead with the heel, it's a greater range of motion. Not only that, when you have the range of motion, you can focus and your alignment will come into play. The valgusing of the knee, to be specific, so you are able to amend that and or adhere to fixing that valgus problem. On top of that, you can drive the hips far greater than if you were to just step down, which can be more knee dominant. So takeaway or the cues which I like to use is simply just lead with the heel as opposed to the toes, and to really focus on that biomechanical standard that we talk about in the triple extension and really gaining that alignment. All right. And just to move on to a greater height here. So this device is just something that was laying around. I believe it's a 90s cardio device. So the final cue which I like to implement when carrying out these ATG exercises and or knee focused exercises is simply the time under tension. So when carrying out, I'd say a Poliquin step, a step down such as this, when you focus on the time under tension, you will reap greater benefits than if you were to just rep it out. And this translates to, I'd say, weight training, speed training. When you focus on the concentric and the eccentrics, you will start to reap the benefits and move away from the gate of inhibiting factors in the knee, in the hips, in the ankles. And then you can focus more on alignment and how you can improve the triple extension health of your movement and the movement of your overall body. So time under tension is always a plus for me now, since I'm focusing on no weight bearing and body weight driven exercises such as this. So if you guys aren't able to do the Poliquin step, this is a great place to begin your foundation and the knee health journey. And when you finally can, so I'm just going to use my good knee, when you finally can, you're going to want something as, I don't know, as great of a height as this, and same thing. So this can also be scaled down to where you're just assisted, like so, and you just want to focus on driving the glutes, or you don't necessarily need to lead with the glutes, but when you do, it works everything in cohesion. All right, so right here. And guys, if you aren't able to do anything with ease, or you feel pain, like the ATG program says, don't work through pain. So when you feel something inhibiting in this movement here, take out whatever you need to and leave the ego at the door and just be assisted. So you can hold something here, you can be on a wall if you need to, and just step down here. All right, because I think what I've learned now is when muscles work, they don't necessarily need to be painful. And when tissues and muscle tissues begin to break down, you don't necessarily need to feel it, or you don't need to feel the pain or the DOMs of it to know that it's working. Carrying out the movement itself is exercise in itself. All right, so that's been our ATG covering the step down. So the step down is perfect for you guys who aren't able to carry out the Poliquin step. Also, the step down is a great foundation tool and or prerequisite for the Poliquin step, as the Poliquin step is more knee driven. So yeah, I will see you soon. Keep the balance, and time and attention is key.